Welcome to Confirm News TV. Dear viewers, I want to take a moment to speak to you from my heart. For over a year, this channel has been stuck at 670 subscribers. It's been hard to keep going, but I keep making these videos because stories like this need to be told, and the mainstream media often ignores them. If this video touched you, or if you believe the truth deserves a louder voice, please consider subscribing today. You aren't just clicking a button, you are helping us survive. Help us finally break through to 1,000 subscribers. Be the person that makes the difference today. What if I told you that the life sentence handed down in November wasn't the worst news Nnamdi Kanu received in 2025? What if the real sentence isn't life in prison, but a sudden, silent death behind bars? While the media has been obsessed with Justice Omotosho's judgment and the political fallout in the Southeast, a much darker story has been unfolding inside the medical wing of the Sokoto Correctional Facility. A story that's barely made the front pages but could change the history of Nigeria forever. In October 2025, a medical report was leaked. It was a document the authorities reportedly tried to bury, and for good reason. It didn't just say the IPOB leader was sick. It used two terrifying words that should send shivers down the spine of anyone paying attention: sudden death. Today, we are looking past the courtroom drama and the legal jargon. We are digging into the October leakage report, the mysterious red liquid controversy, and the frantic warnings from Barrister Aloy Ejimakor. We are asking the question that the government refuses to answer. Is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu being managed, or is he being slowly eliminated? To understand the gravity of this situation, we have to go back to October 2025. Just weeks before the life imprisonment verdict was delivered, while the world was focused on whether the court would acquit him or convict him, a silent war was raging between Kanu's private medical team and the DSS. Documents that surfaced during the frantic push for an independent review by the Nigerian Medical Association revealed shocking details about his physiology. The report indicated that Kanu was suffering from severe hypokalemia. For those who aren't medically inclined, this is a critical potassium deficiency. Now, you might hear deficiency and think it's just a matter of taking a few vitamins. It is not. Potassium is the fuel that makes your heart beat electrically. If those levels drop too low, your heart doesn't just skip a beat. It stops. It led arrhythmia and cardiac arrest. The leaked details suggested that despite taking the medication provided by the prison authorities, his levels continued to plummet. This physiological collapse led his legal team to ask a terrifying question. Why is the medication not working? Is the dosage wrong, or is something else happening? This brings us to one of the most disturbing allegations to come out of Kuje in the last 6 months: the mystery of the red liquid. According to statements from his legal team, there were instances where standard prescriptions were replaced or supplemented with an unidentified red substance. The DSS claimed this was standard care, a liquid supplement to boost his health. But Kanu's body reacted in the opposite way. Instead of stabilizing, his condition deteriorated. He began experiencing rapid heart palpitations, extreme dizziness, and a ringing in his ears to notice that became so deafening he could barely hear his lawyers speak during visits. Was this mere incompetence? Is it possible that the prison medical facility simply lacks the resources to manage a complex heart condition? Or, as many supporters fear, was this a calculated attempt to weaken him before the judgment? If a prisoner dies of genital causes like a heart attack, it saves the state the messiness of an execution. It provides plausible deniability, and right now, plausible deniability seems to be the order of the day. Barrister Aloy Ejimakor didn't mince words when he came out to address the press after a visitation in late 2025. He looked shaken. He told reporters, the medical team has warned that his heart could fail at any moment. This wasn't political rhetoric meant to whip up sentiments. This was a direct quote from a medical prognosis. Ejimakor revealed that the life imprisonment judgment effectively sealed Kanu's access to the specialized surgical care he needs. You see, treating advanced heart disease and a type of ear infection Kanu developed after his rendition from Kenya requires more than just pills. It requires a sterile, stress-free environment and potentially surgical intervention. You cannot perform delicate heart procedures in a facility where the patient is under constant psychological torture. And make no mistake, the psychological aspect is lethal. Think about the mental state of a man who has spent years in solitary confinement, only to be told he will never walk free again. The shock of the life sentence itself acts as a trigger. Stress releases cortisol and adrenaline, hormones that put immense pressure on the heart. For a healthy person, it's manageable. For a man with hypokalemia and hypertension, that stress is a loaded gun pointed at his chest. But the story gets even more complicated. Following the November conviction, whispers began to circulate about a prison transfer. The government, perhaps tired of the constant protest outside the DSS headquarters in Abuja, began making moves to transfer him to a regular correctional center. The name that kept coming up was Sokoto Prison. Now, why does this matter? If you think Kuje is bad, a maximum security transfer to a remote location like Sokoto is a death sentence for a heart patient. It effectively cuts him off from his Abuja-based legal team. It distances him from the few specialists who have been allowed to see him. It isolates him in a climate that is physically grueling. His personal physician, Prof. Agaji, has warned repeatedly that removing him from close monitoring would result in a catastrophe. You cannot monitor a failing heart from hundreds of miles away. This potential transfer is what many believe will be the final nail in the coffin. It is a strategy of isolation. If he is moved, the flow of information stops. We won't know about the red liquid. We won't know about the potassium drops. We will only know when an announcement is made that he has passed away peacefully in his sleep. We also need to look at the broader context of who is watching over him. The Nigerian Medical Association, NMA, has been locked in a bureaucratic battle with the security services. The NMA demanded full access to run independent toxicity screenings, basically to check if he was being poisoned or if his medications were tainted. That access has been repeatedly blocked or delayed with red tape. Why? If the authorities have nothing to hide, and if they are truly providing him with the best care as they claim in court, why block an independent toxicity report? The silence on that front is louder than any press release. This situation draws a haunting parallel to history. We've seen this script before in Nigeria. We saw it with MKO Abiola, a high-profile prisoner, a tense political climate, a sudden cup of tea, and then silence. The government of the day claimed it was natural causes. Years later, we are still debating the truth. Are we watching a slow-motion replay of 1998? The British High Commission's role, or lack thereof, in Israel, another massive piece of this puzzle. Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen. Usually, when a British citizen is facing a life-threatening medical crisis in a foreign prison, there is immense diplomatic pressure. There are demands for medical repatriation. Yet, Throughout late 2025, the silence from London now has been deafening. This abandonment has likely contributed to the deterioration of his mental health, knowing that the country he holds a passport for has seemingly washed its hands of his survival. So, where does this leave us as we move through January 2026? We are currently in a dangerous waiting game. Kanu's legal team is scrambling to file an appeal to the Supreme Court, not just to overturn the life sentence, but to secure an emergency bail on health grounds. They are arguing that a dead man cannot serve a life sentence. They are arguing that the state has a duty of care and they are failing it. But the courts move slowly and heart failure moves fast. Every day he spends in that cell, the potassium levels fluctuate. Every day, the risk of a stroke or cardiac arrest increases. If Nnamdi Kanu dies in custody, the consequences for Nigeria will be catastrophic. The peace in the southeast, which is already fragile, could shatter completely. The trust in the judiciary would be eroded beyond repair. It would not be seen as a death from illness. It would be recorded in the minds of millions as a state-sponsored assassination. The leaked reports from October were a warning. The lawyer's outcry was a warning. The symptoms are a warning. The question is anyone with the power to save him actually listening? Or is the government simply waiting for nature, assisted by negligence, take its course? This isn't just about whether you agree with IPOB or believe in one Nigeria. This is about human rights. It is about the right to life. When the state takes a man into custody, they become responsible for his breath. If they let that breath fail, they are responsible for his death. As we watch this unfold, we have to stay vigilant. We cannot let the news cycle move on. We need to demand transparency regarding his medical records. We need to demand that the NMA be given full, unfettered access. Because by the time the next breaking news alert flashes on your phone, it might be too late. Nnamdi Kanu is fighting for his life, not just against the law, but against his own body and the system holding him. The clock is ticking, and right now, it looks like time is running out. What do you think is really happening behind those prison walls? Is this red liquid a mistake or a weapon? Is the government trying to avoid the 2027 election drama by letting him die now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation we need to have before silence becomes the only answer left. Please subscribe.